Hello, friends. My name is Nancy with Astrology and Angel Mediums. I want to say thank you for trusting me and coming here and seeing these videos that I've been posting. I really do appreciate it. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing with all of this, but first, before I get into anything, I did want to say thank you so much for helping me reach over 100 subscribers. That is like a really big deal for me personally because I'm like, why does anyone even want to um, watch these kind of not great production videos? But I do want to say thank you. And as a thank you, I was like, let me pull a couple cards. Let's see what's going on. What can we expect for this week? I know that if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen my 3-card pull for the week. But I did just want to kind of do a what's going on, maybe a little bit more depth, a little bit more of an opportunity to kind of see maybe some other energies that may be playing into what to expect for this week. And we do have a new moon coming up. So it's always nice to kind of check in. So the first deck I'm going to talk about or use is going to be the Elemental Empath by Miyuki Rose. And let's see. Feeling 1 card. So Manifest Magic. We also have the Spacious Tarot from Carrie Mallon, I believe. I don't have the box over here with me right now. I use this deck so much that I don't even keep it in the box anymore. All right, we got the Explorer of Swords, the 7 of Pentacles, and the 4 of Wands, which is funny. If you follow my Instagram page at Astrology and Angel Mediums on there, you'll see that the 4 of Wands also came out as one of the card pulls for the week. So maybe we're meant to focus a little bit more on the joy and stability of this week. And here we have the rose thread. Push these up a little bit because I'm still trying to figure out what what works with filming on my table. All right, and this is a little divine timing oracle. So let's see if we have any questions about when something will happen or what to expect moving forward in November. All right, and should we pull a couple charms, or you know what, we'll talk about these cards first and then we will talk about the charms. So the very first card I pulled is going to be Manifest Magic. This is about weaving your magic, really connecting to miracles, understanding manifestation. And as you may know, for those of us that really follow astrology, the astrological year is not really going to begin until the spring equinox or the vernal equinox. So for some of us, it's like we feel like this is like the end of the year in a lot of ways. And so the year's kind of energetically closing out for many of us. So if you've been feeling like things are not really moving, or maybe you feel a little bit like slow or tired or just a little bit drained, I feel like energetically a lot of us understand how the seasons really are, how we should actually follow our actual calendar, if that makes sense, instead of the Gregorian style calendar, which I think kind of limits us and tries to make us feel like we should be starting things dead in winter, like in the dead of winter. And I think for a lot of us, that's why maybe we struggle with resolutions or this like feeling of like, I have to get things done or whatever. And I feel like maybe trying to plan towards this actual kind of like the beginning of the actual year with like Ostara coming up or Easter. I think that it's more about connecting to that sort of energy and actually manifesting what it is that we want for ourselves, not just with what we're dreaming of. And I think it's interesting to have this kind of like fish imagery with the mermaid. It's very like Pisces. So I think right now we're being reminded that it's great for us to kind of focus on what we are wanting and what we're going to manifest in this year as we kind of move into it. And we are going to have the first of the eclipses beginning with the new moon in Pisces, with a lunar eclipse, and then we're going to have a solar eclipse on March 25th in Libra. So it is kind of giving us this opportunity to be like, okay, we're getting ready to manifest and kind of do what is necessary. Now, a little word of warning, so to speak, is that eclipses, I don't recommend trying to manifest with the eclipses. If it's your thing and you're okay with it, do what feels right for you. I'm not here to tell anybody else what they should be doing with their lives. I will say, as a word of caution, that eclipses are portals in a lot of ways, and sometimes we can't really see quite clearly what it is that we're walking into or what doors we're walking through. So I always tell people to be a little bit more cognizant of what it is that they're focusing on, what it is that they're kind of like prioritizing during eclipse season. I feel like it's more of an opportunity to kind of take a step back and kind of see what arises, what shows up versus trying to force certain things. But again, you do you, you're grown. So I think with this, it's just maybe this is a time to kind of harness, because I think manifesting is very much like the magician card energy in tarot, where it's very much about understanding what it is that you're trying to do before you work the magic. And I think that there's a sense of awareness and understanding that you have to have when you are kind of growing into this energy. And I think that this week is maybe that it's saying, okay, what have you been focusing on? What are you trying to manifest? How can you really understand how you manifest? Because again, all of us manifest in different ways. All of us have different parts of ourselves that are capable of overcoming or accomplishing whatever it is that we may be needing at that time. So I think that this is about, really finding that energy within yourself and manifesting what you desire. And I think it's interesting that there's also the number 8 on here, because this is going to be actually an 8-year, or it is an 8-year. And so a lot of us are maybe feeling a little bit of that sense of restriction, because I always kind of associate the number 8 with Saturn, and kind of that like structure, that rigidity, that sense of really finding your infrastructure, finding your foundation, ensuring that everything is as stable as it needs to be, and then building upon it. And without having that solid sense of who you are, of what you want, of what you value, we're going to feel that sense of like, okay, we need to kind of bring things back into balance, because in tarot, we can look at the strength card or justice, depending on what card system you utilize. For me, since I usually use a more Rider-Waite-Smith style deck, I usually use strength as card number 8. So to me, it's very much about that identity, that recognition of like what we're growing through, what we understand. But even if we look at the lessons of justice, which is all about that balance, that harmony, that sense of right and wrong, and righting the wrongs, I think that manifesting magic is maybe a reminder that we have a lot more control than sometimes we even believe that we do. So moving right along, we have, and I can never pick these up because of my nails. I love my nails, but it's hard to pick stuff up. So here we have the Explorer of Swords. So this is essentially the Knight of Swords, or what else is it called in other decks? I think it's just swords, spades, I think, as well in other decks. So I think it's more of recognizing that we have to look at what we're willing to fight for mentally. And maybe this is about getting really clear this week with what we're thinking, what we want, cutting away from anything that maybe is no longer serving us, utilizing our communication, our words, recognizing that maybe not everyone knows what our next move is going to be, or how we're going to kind of show up in different ways. And I think with the Explorer of Swords is that it is a reminder that maybe it's time to, be a little bit more logical and analytical about what is kind of going on around us. And I think it goes very well with the Manifesting Magic card, in the sense of we have to get clear mentally on what we're doing, so that we can see clearly what will be happening for us, and we can kind of detach emotionally from some of the hurts or the places in which we feel a sense of fear. Now, the Seven of Pentacles is essentially a card that's just kind of saying, like, we've planted the seeds, we've done the hard work, we've done what is needed, but we're just waiting. We're just going to maybe not see so much the results of the fruits of our labor, so to speak. And so maybe we're going to feel a little bit like, what am I doing? like I'm ready. I want to pick the fruit already. But again, it's like everything is going to find us in divine timing. And so it is going to feel very much like maybe some of the seeds that we're planting now or that we have been planting are going to take a little bit of time to come to fruition, or are going to take a little bit of our hard work or dedication. Maybe it's going to require a little bit of just patience with things. And I know with the Knight of Swords, it wants to come in as like this swift energy, just like charge ahead, do what I need to do, like get things done. And then the Seven of Pentacles comes in and says, okay, now we have to wait. So when I think of energetically, what Pentacles rules, I feel like it's associated with fall or autumn. So I do think that maybe this is kind of saying like within 7 months, you might start to see some progress from, this eclipse season, or even just from like the things that you're trying to manifest. So if you've been trying to work on something that feels very big or that feels very like out of reach for you right now, I think the Seven of Pentacles is kind of saying like it's time to just be patient. Just give yourself a little bit of time as you're moving into this energy. Now, finally, we're going to end with the Four of Wands for the tarot cards here. And I think that this is just really saying that this is a card of like joy and stability, to celebrate, to get together with the people that you love, to really take some time out to recognize what you've completed. When I think of the Four of Wands, I think it's very much the card of like, weddings and graduations and the birth of a child. And it's like those moments where we come together and we celebrate. So maybe there is some things that you haven't celebrated in your life that it is time for you to kind of give that recognition, especially if you've just been waiting. If you've been waiting for things to shift, if you've been waiting for something to kind of come together, the Four of Wands, I think, is very much this invitation to say, when is the last time you had a little bit of fun? When is the last time that you celebrated and kind of gave yourself an opportunity to say, hey, I love what I've done. It's been such a beautiful thing to kind of move into this energy and do something beautiful with it. So I do think that maybe this is a call for sometime this week to celebrate the things that maybe you've been trying to manifest, and get together with people that you have a connection to kind of chase after. Maybe you need to communicate with certain people, and maybe you've been waiting to kind of hear back from them. But I think that either way, it's time to celebrate and to kind of get out of your rut, to kind of take some time out for you and really reconnect to the joy that comes in many different aspects of our lives. Because I think sometimes we forget, we get so caught up in all of everything else that's going on in the world that we tend to kind of forget to, or we have like a sense of guilt, or we have a sense of like, I don't want to say guilt, but yeah, I guess guilt would be a nice word. Sorry, I'm so congested. My allergies are all over the place. I think if anything, it's more of like an invitation to kind of say like, it's okay for me to celebrate where I'm at, even if I'm not exactly where I would like to be in the future, or even if I'm not done with the goals that I have for myself long term. Now, finally, I have the rose thread, which is the inner call. This is about being soul-led, the mystic, living courageously. And I think that this is more of an opportunity for you to be gentle with yourself, to listen to what your soul really needs at this time. And I think it goes very well with the manifesting magic, is that by allowing yourself to have a soul-led life, you are able to really show up in ways that feel honored, or not honored, but in ways that you are honoring all of the parts of yourself that are ready to kind of show up at this time. Now, when I say soul-led, I don't mean like, oh, you have to be like divinely like connected to yourself, and so like mystical and magical. I think everyone already has that within themselves. We just express it through various aspects that we've either learned is okay or through ways in which we feel comfortable sharing ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with how you are showing up. I'm someone that tends to curse a lot. I'm very blunt. I kind of have a warped sense of humor, but that is what works for my soul. And I'm not going to change that while I feel that that is how my soul wants to express itself. So this isn't to say like, oh, you have to like get rid of everything that you've ever known and become this like, I hate the word guru, but a guru, so to speak, and be so like above everybody else's like human bullshit that you tend to forget, that we're here living, we're humans, we're spirit, we are souls, we are, all of these things. And we're having to kind of bring it into the physical and do something with that, whether we are ready for it or not. And I think that this is kind of saying like, live courageously in ways that feel like it's honoring all of you and all that you need. Now, finally, I got in November. So maybe some stuff happened this previous November that maybe you're starting to kind of recognize the importance of, or maybe even feeling a little bit more like, oh, okay, I see why that was happening, or I see why I needed that to kind of happen. And maybe there are other things that are going to be very significant also happening in November of this year. So maybe it's a good time to look at, where do I want what do I want my life to look like in November? What sort of things would I like to have accomplished in November or by November of 2024? What are things that maybe I need to kind of dive deeper into? If we're just even thinking of the astrological kind of energy of like Scorpio and Sagittarius in November, where it's like, what depths do I need to kind of go into so that I can rise up and utilize that experience as education and using that for like the higher self to kind of utilize it to propel me forward. And I think with November is that maybe there's also the recognition of, again, there's like that sense of fall, right? That sense of autumn. It's still autumn in November, even though usually it's pretty chilly. And I think it's more of just like that connection of, here in the US, people usually celebrate by taking time out to go see their family, spending time with their loved ones. And I think it's almost saying like maybe we need to kind of get back into that celebratory kind of energy of giving ourselves permission to kind of connect in ways that honor what it is that we want and for us to show up the way that we need to. So how does this all relate to what's going to happen this week? I think that it's really just saying you need to take some time out to figure out what you're focusing on. Where is your energy? Where is your drive with things? And how can you, even if you are feeling like there's still stuff that you're waiting to kind of put together or finish, or even if you feel like, it's hard for you to kind of share what exactly it is that you're trying to do, you can still have fun and, really listen to what your soul needs at this time so that by November, it becomes more of a habit. All right, it's going to be a little loud. I'm going to see what little charms we have here. It's funny, I just like grab whatever comes out. I have like a ton of charms in my bag. All right, first thing we have is going to be the marble. This to me really is a reminder of like that inner child healing, that connection to simplicity, of fun, of connecting a little bit more to, what maybe we've been neglecting within ourselves. So even just like the last few days, I've been too busy trying to do a lot of different things. And I finally, yesterday was like, I need a break. I just need to kind of get out and, enjoy the beautiful weather that we're having right now. And that's essentially what I did. And I didn't put a lot of pressure on myself to be like, I have to get this and this and this done, or that and that and this, which I usually do. I'm very much I have to get all of my things done before I actually go out and have fun or even enjoy myself in any way. But it was so needed. And I think that that inner child kind of energy is very much that, like, to just kind of reconnect to having fun and enjoying maybe the simple things or the lovely things that are maybe showing up in different ways. Now, next to that, we have, and I know it's passion. And maybe this is a reminder to kind of reconnect to what your drive is, to what you're excited about. Maybe it's been hard for you to take some time out to kind of be a little bit more creative or say, hey, I really enjoy doing this, or maybe even just having like that sense of like, what is currently pushing you? Where is your drive in the sense of what is your goal? What is it that you're trying to do? And how can you have a little bit more fun? Now, next to that, we have the lantern. It was upside down. So maybe we're not really shining the light on everything at this current moment, or maybe we're not seeing things quite so clearly. And when I think of the lantern, I think it's much more of like a throwback to simpler times, right? Now it's like if I flip a switch, I'm going to expect a light to come on. And this is kind of saying, like, have you fed the fire? Have you taken the time out to make sure that you have everything that you need in order for you to shine a light on a situation or the things that maybe are currently not quite so clear for you? Um, and here we have, okay, a little penis bone, which this to me talks about like sensuality, sexuality, and it's also aggressiveness. I mean, it's a penis bone, right? So there is this kind of energy of like recognizing that maybe we have to like look at what we're willing to stick up for. Not to be kind of crude here, but I feel like it's very much this like what's driving. And I think it goes very well with like the passion, and that inner child of like, you know, when we're children, it's like, we'll just like go for whatever it is that we're wanting to do. It's like so many of us are just so like determined to just do what is needed. And I think with the lantern as well and this bone is that it's more of saying like maybe there's something that we're not seeing quite so clearly here. And there's maybe a little bit of confusion regarding some of the masculine energies around us. And this isn't to say like just men, it can be masculine energies around us, which can also be, you know, some of the people in our lives that maybe have a much more masculine sort of energy. So maybe it's a reminder to maybe stick up for ourselves in some of those relationships, to set good boundaries, to maybe see what's driving us and what our passion is. Now, this can just talk about recognizing that maybe it's time for us to get away from whatever it is that has been holding us back in different ways. And I think that this is also a reminder to find a better balance between our day to day lives and what it is that we desire, or kind of the underlying theme of what is driving us. And I think it goes very well with the Four of Wands, kind of saying like we need to celebrate, while also recognizing that like I've done the hard work, so it's okay for me to celebrate and enjoy things. And finally, we have this little vertebrae, which just talks about flexibility. It talks about, you know, recognizing that we need that strength, that backbone. A lot of us, if we, you know, have injuries to our backs, we cannot walk, we cannot move. It's challenging. Everything in our bodies is designed to work together, and especially the spine, it controls so much. And I think with the spine here, or this little vertebrae, it's almost saying like you are a piece of so much, and so you need to be doing what's needed as well for everything to kind of come together and to work in conjunction. And the other thing with this is that, again, there's this sense of flexibility. We need flexibility in our spines. And I think it's almost saying like, where have you been too rigid? Where have you been stuck? And where are you not allowing yourself to kind of move out of this kind of energy, and giving yourself that opportunity to kind of say, all right, what's happening here? So all of this, I think, is just kind of saying that maybe this week we need to kind of connect back to fun, finding some more of like that sense of passion, having the drive to complete what's needed, maybe shining a light on the areas that we have neglected, while also recognizing that maybe we do need a little bit of extra in order for us to shine that light, remaining flexible with the things that come up, while also finding the right support, the right support, and finding a better work-life balance between what it is that we've been working towards and what it is that we're doing for ourselves. Not as a reward because you did something good, but more of just like enjoying things. And I think a lot of us have kind of gotten in this space of like, oh, when I do so much, then I deserve a reward, versus I can give myself a good life that is in balance with everything versus feeling like I have to work very hard in order for me to receive. So I hope that makes sense. Let me know what you guys think. Have a good one. Take care. Stay safe. And if you're looking for your own personalized reading, you can always find them on my website at astrologyandAngelMediums.com. I have a shop there. You can book online. And you can also see all of the events I'll be doing, as well as some of the other fun stuff that I have on offer. So have a good one. Take care. Stay safe. And as always, make good choices. Bye.